Jaguar Wright has come forward with claims about Jada's past, revealing alleged details about her relationships outside of her marriage to Will Smith. She also points out that even decades later, Jada continues to draw comparisons between Will and Tupac. The dynamic between Will and Jada, including their openness to involving other people in their relationship, is now being viewed in a different light by many. This raises ongoing questions about why Will has chosen to remain in the marriage and whether his situation is likely to improve moving forward.
You know Esther Perel is coming to the table. She's going to be at the red table. Would you say she has been instrumental in you and I redefining our relationship?
I would say don't just start filming me without asking me
Oh my goodness.
if you could film me.
Esther, come help us again, please. I'm still dealing with foolishness.
Cause she don't just.
Would you say that she helped us heal the hurts that we caused between one another?
My social media presence is my bread and butter, okay? So you can't just use me for social media and not, don't just start rolling. I'm standing in my house. Don't just start rolling.
Please watch us stare at the red table.
Will Smith and Jada Pinkett Smith tied the knot less than a year after the passing of Tupac, whom Jada has openly described as the love of her life. From the very beginning of their marriage, she admitted to feeling uncertain, even suggesting at times that Will wasn't the partner she truly wanted. In a 2019 interview with People magazine, Jada shared that marriage wasn't originally her choice. She explained that her mother strongly encouraged it due to traditional values, while Will was eager to build a family. As a result, she agreed, viewing it more as something she felt she should do rather than something she deeply desired. Even after they were married, Jada continued to speak about Tupac in a highly emotional and admiring way. In one conversation, she referred to him as the most remarkable man she had ever known and recounted a moment where he had expressed a desire to marry her before his death. She also admitted that marrying Will had never really been part of her original plans and that her feelings for him weren't especially strong at the time. Hearing these statements left many people questioning her perspective, wondering why she would publicly compare her husband to someone from her past and speak in a way that seemed to diminish her relationship decades later.
Tupac has been dead for about 27 years, so if this proposal did take place, and I'm not trying to doubt my sister at all, but if the proposal did take place, you're talking 30 or more years or so ago. Why is that coming up now? To me, the only reason why I could think that she would bring that up is it's possible that Will might harbor some insecurities over her relationship with Tupac, and she probably felt that that is one of the few things she could bring up to actually get under Will's skin. Because when you look at achievements, Tupac would be probably one of the only rappers who could rival Will in terms of overall success. Now, of course, Will doesn't have the hip hop success, of many rappers, but when you add in his acting and what he has done on the big screen, there's not many people who can compete with his body of work. Tupac would be one of them because he was also an actor. And had he not been taken from us, who knows how many box office hits Tupac with.
For many people, hearing a spouse openly compare them to a former partner or suggest they were second choice would be incredibly painful. For Will Smith, however, that situation was only the beginning of ongoing public scrutiny around his marriage. Around 2011, while Jada was filming the medical drama Hawthorne alongside co-star Mark Anthony, speculation started to circulate about a possible relationship between the two. At the time, Mark was still married to Jennifer Lopez, and both he and Jada publicly denied any involvement beyond friendship. Not long after those rumors surfaced, Mark and Jennifer Lopez went their separate ways. This timing led many observers to believe there may have been more to the story, with some expecting Will and Jada's marriage to fall apart as well. Instead of separating, the conversation around their relationship took a different turn. In 2013, Jada addressed their dynamic by explaining that she and Will trusted each other to make their own choices. She emphasized that, in her view, this didn't label their marriage as open, but rather as a more mature understanding between partners. Many people interpreted her remarks as a sign that Will had chosen to remain in the relationship despite the rumors, possibly accepting a more unconventional arrangement. Adding to the discussion, Will's former close friend, Brother Bilal, has more recently spoken out, claiming this perspective reflects what was happening behind the scenes.
Let's go back to the other story of Jada stepping out. So, and this has already been out there, but I can confirm it. So when they did Hawthorne, Jada starred Mark Anthony, who is J-Lo's husband, right? They did a TV show called Hawthorne.
Is that why they divorced?
So
Jennifer Lopez and Mark Anthony.
Yeah. So let me go a little bit
Okay,
deeper.
go ahead.
Let's go a little bit deeper. So this is a full-on relationship on the set, like romantic relationship. Not okay. I just gave him some and that's it. Like it's a relationship. So, Will hears about this and kind of devastated. At this point, this is where you see all the papers are going crazy. A divorce is imminent and so forth and so on. The final straw is when Will came home in court. Jada came Mark Anthony on the couch at their home, right? And this devastated Will, right? I even had a conversation when Will wanted to
Many people found it hard to understand how someone as accomplished as Will Smith could remain in a situation surrounded by repeated rumors of infidelity. A common belief among fans was that he may have felt pressure to accept a non-traditional relationship dynamic. Will later addressed aspects of his marriage in his memoir, offering his own perspective. During an appearance with Oprah, he clarified that he didn't define their relationship as open. Instead, he described it as a partnership built on mutual trust and personal independence. To better explain what that idea of freedom looked like within their marriage, Will went on to share his own interpretation of how their relationship worked.
Never actually, officially separated. We agreed that she had to make herself happy and I had to make myself happy. And then we were going to present ourselves back to the relationship.
Both Will and Jada publicly avoided labeling their marriage as open, but many people felt the way they described freedom in their relationship suggested something similar. As more interviews and appearances surfaced over time, public perception continued to shift, with some viewers commenting that Will appeared unhappy. In 2023, Jada released her memoir, Worthy, where she shared more details about her personal life. Within the book, she acknowledged being involved in relationships outside of her marriage. She also revisited a moment from Red Table Talk, where Will confronted her about one of those situations. What stood out to many readers was that, during that discussion, Jada suggested that issues within their relationship played a role in her actions, which sparked further debate about how responsibility was being framed.
Promised, Jada Pinkett Smith brought herself to the red table, and surprisingly, her husband Will Smith joined her. They talked about pain, healing, and yes, Jada's entanglement with August Alsina.
It's all love.
Recently, Alsina revealed to the world that he was involved in a relationship with Jada while she was still married. And even though statements were released denying the affair, Pinkett Smith is now reluctantly confirming that the relationship did indeed exist.
It's a situation that I considered private.
You just feel like it ain't really nobody's business.
Yeah.
But now Black Twitter has claimed it as their business.
During the 12-minute Red Table Talk episode, Jada sat down with Will to explain how she met August 4.5 years ago. But the friendship didn't turn into something more until she and Will were ready to call it quits.
You and I were going through a very difficult time.
Yeah.
And we decided...
I was done with your ass.
Kicked me to the curb.
I was done with you.
Yeah.
Marriages have that, though.
Yeah,
Marriages have that.
Yeah, we basically, we broke up.
And then what did you do, Jada?
Well, I think from there, as time went on, I got into a different kind of entanglement with August.
Yes, we know entanglement is vague as hell, but thankfully, Will pressed her to be more clear.
An entanglement?
Yes. Yes.
A relationship?
Yes, it was a relationship, absolutely.
We also got clarity on the misconception that Will gave August permission to sleep with his wife.
The only person that could give permission in that particular circumstance is myself.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah. But what August was probably trying to communicate, because I could actually see how he would perceive it as permission, because we were separated amicably.
Yeah.
And I think he also wanted to make it clear that he's not a homewrecker.
Now, if you're like us, you're probably wondering why August? Well, we'll let Jada explain it.
I just wanted to feel good.
Mm-hmm.
It had been so long
Mm-hmm.
since I felt good.
Right.
And it was really a joy to just help heal some.
Jada later explained her behavior by saying she struggled with maintaining commitment, describing it as something she found difficult to control. She emphasized that her personal happiness was her top priority, suggesting that even a marriage shouldn't stand in the way of that. From her perspective, fulfillment came first, and she believed that no partner, even a spouse, should prevent someone from pursuing what makes them happy. At some point, Will is said to have accepted this approach, with reports claiming he allowed her the freedom to see other people, as long as there was openness and communication between them.
Hey, when they're together, Will's comfortable with that. Will's comfortable with someone right when he's there. Is when he's not there is the insecurities, because I can't tell you why, but I can tell you that there's a comfortability when men and women come in to have with them. Will's fine with that. So when this happened, like, Will kind of went crazy. You know, they would talk about the divorce rumors and so forth and so on. It was big crisis management. Many people tell you Will was driving around California. I mean, just, he's gone. He brought Dwayne a club called Zen Lounge, and Will would come in there and just be drinking and like just, this wasn't the Will.
Will appears determined to keep the relationship intact, even if it means facing criticism from the public and the entertainment world. At the same time, Jada has described their dynamic using terms like a transparent marriage, presenting it as something built on openness. However, many people interpreted that label in their own way, drawing conclusions about what that level of honesty and flexibility might actually involve behind the scenes.
It's about you all the time.
Right.
You know, just lots of rumors and tabloids and all of that. And you were very careful in the book, without, not in a whiny way or whatever. Let me clarify this.
Right.
Let me clarify these things that have been said. And one of the things that you are careful to clarify is it was never an open relationship.
Yes, it was.
It was a transparent. You say it's a transparent relationship. And what do you mean by that?
So transparent meaning, look, I wasn't gonna fool myself into thinking that we as 20-some-year-olds, babies, mind you, getting married and living in Tinseltown, spending a lot of time apart, okay, that we weren't gonna run into temptation situations.
You're young, beautiful, rich, temptation.
Right.
You're apart a lot. Temptation is raining down
Right,
on you.
exactly, yeah. Right? And I'm like, hey, we gotta be in partnership with this. Like, I wanted to face it head on and just go, I didn't want to create a culture of deceit or betrayal between us. And I just wanted to be real about it from the gate. I had seen so much just with, I knew what street fame brought dudes, okay? I knew what street fame brought, and I'm like, if street fame does that, I can only imagine what global fame does. And from me, my own experience walking into rooms, all eyes on me, and how intoxicating that was as a young woman. You know what I mean? It's like I had been there and done that, you know, in regards to my earlier years before I met Will. But I just knew that I just wasn't going to set myself up that way. But it was never an open marriage, you know, and like either one of us get to do whatever we want to do. That was never the case.
As you say in the book, it's about eliminating the possibility of betrayal.
Yeah.
If something happens or you want it to happen, talk about it.
Absolutely.
Which is the healthiest way to go in it.
Listen.
Because it happens to everybody.
Listen, if you expect to be with somebody forever, it's like, let's get real with it from the gate.
Jada referred to her relationships outside of her marriage as an entanglement, a term that quickly drew widespread attention. During a televised conversation about the situation, Will became visibly emotional as the topic was discussed openly. For many viewers, that moment stood out as a sign of just how far things had gone in terms of what was being shared publicly about their relationship. It also led to ongoing discussions about how comfortable Will truly was with the situation, and later interviews, Will spoke about the challenges within their marriage, even acknowledging that it wasn't his responsibility to fulfill all of Jada's happiness. Comments like these added to the broader conversation about the nature of their relationship and how it had evolved over time.
The GOAT relationship advice for me is that it's impossible to make a person happy. Don't even play the game, and don't try to have a person make you happy. That you have to discover your happiness and cultivate your happiness on your own, and they have to cultivate theirs on their own, and you come together sharing the happiness you have versus trying to get happiness from them. That was a big one for me, like the retirement from trying to make people happy in all my relationships.
Some fans point towards Jada's constant lack of respect for Will and how she seemingly uses her platform to air their private struggles as evidence that the relationship is one-sided. Beyond the entanglements, Jada has been open about her battles with various addictions, including and which she discussed on her show, Red Table Talk. She described these issues as a way to fill a void, further complicating her marriage with Will. The worst part about these confessions, however, was the fact that Jada did them with her daughter right next to her. Jada was laughing while talking about cheating on Will and being addicted to while Willow was sitting next to her, looking extremely
Ever had an addiction? Yes, I've had several.
Jada Pinkett Smith opens up about her struggles with addiction.
I'm hoping that it will give people the freedom also in their lives to find their
Some observers believe Jada's repeated public comments about their relationship come across as dismissive toward Will, pointing to the way she openly discusses personal matters as a sign that the dynamic may feel unbalanced. In addition to the entanglement revelations, Jada has also spoken candidly about her struggles with different forms of addiction, topics she addressed on Red Table Talk. She explained that these behaviors were tied to trying to cope with an emotional emptiness, which added further strain to her marriage. What drew even more attention was how these conversations were presented. During one discussion, she spoke about infidelity and her personal challenges while her daughter sat beside her. Viewers noted the contrast in tone, as Jada appeared lighthearted at moments, while her daughter seemed visibly uneasy, making the situation feel even more uncomfortable to watch.
My sort of addictions jump. They jump around. When I was young, I definitely think I had a addiction of some kind. Yes, that everything could be fixed by
Yes.
You know what I'm saying? Or
It's the behavior.
It's the behavior that's attached to it. Because if you want to have a lot of that's great, but why are you having all that? That's what you got to look at.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Jada has stated that she managed to overcome these struggles on her own, explaining that she went cold turkey to address the issues without outside help. Interview 11. According to Jaguar Wright, Jada's behavior reportedly went beyond merely discussing personal matters in front of Willow. Wright claims that Willow was deeply affected by witnessing how her mother treated her father. She even wrote a letter to Tupac at the age of 12, asking him to return so that her mother could be happy. This act has been highlighted as a revealing glimpse into the family dynamics, suggesting that even at such a young age, Willow sensed that her father might never fully satisfy her mother's expectations.
I became a gym addict. I was just in the gym constantly, and then I remember reaching a rock bottom. That time I was in the house by myself, and I had those 2 bottles of wine and was going for the 3rd bottle, and it was like, now hold up. You in this house by yourself going on to your 3rd
That's gangster.
bottle of wine. You
What's
might
going
have
on?
a problem.
Looking closer at what reportedly went on inside the Smith household, both Jaden and Willow were said to have been exposed to adult material at an unusually young age, with Jada at the center of this behavior. Brother Bilal has stated that he witnessed this firsthand during visits to Will and Jada's home. Allegedly, Jada would view such content openly in shared spaces while the children were present. Some of the material even reportedly involved herself and Will, raising serious concerns about the impact on the kids of being exposed to that kind of content.
I went cold turkey. That's the thing about me. I can go cold turkey.
Yeah.
I am a binger, and I always have to watch myself and just how I can get just obsessed with things. And, you know, it's not what you're doing, but how you're with it.
Most parents would be alarmed if their child were exposed to explicit content at such an early age. According to reports, Jada showed little concern and in some instances appeared to encourage it. In one episode, she allegedly told both her mother, Willow's grandmother, and Willow that she wanted to introduce them to the material she watched. She also admitted that she had struggled with a long-term addiction to pornography, which she openly discussed during the show.
About it, what 12-year-old kid would write a letter to their mother's former love who passed away and said, please come back so my mommy can be happy? Like, did anybody ever really talk about that? It was said and people just gloss right over it. That was a huge red flag for a kid.
It is.
Like, when they talk about it and they say it, you know, so politically correct, it lands different. But if you say it how it actually is, like really, how it actually is, wow. Your kid had to cut her hair off.
There are reports suggesting that Will attempted to address this behavior, but according to sources, Jada responded by asking him to leave the house.
You know, about this they were doing allegedly to certain people and all that. And I told you that Jada was addicted to. So how Jada would watch at the house is she had her laptop, she would stick her hard drive in, right? Boom, and hook it up to the TV. And she could play whatever video she watching. So now, I'm seeing videos of her and Will and a bunch of some celebrities, everything. Because remember, the last interview I told you, if you don't sue me, I'm gonna let people know who you've been hitting with them. I don't know if you remember that, but I remember, your wino's gonna remember it. And I said, if you don't sue, I'm going to sue. So I told you, being Muslim, whatever I say I'm going to do, that's what I'm going to do, period. And I got to have evidence. So we not playing. That's why they didn't sue. So back to these discs with all these, this homemade on it or whatever, okay? Somebody stole 2 hard drives from Jada's house with this alleged on it, right? Jada thought, so now we're getting into why she's even more mad. So Jada thought I had something to do with the disc being stolen, right? And one thing that they allegedly did was report it stolen. So whoever comes out with this video or tape or anything have stolen property. They're going to jail, right? Okay, now, that's why me and Jada's relationship got to be so toxic towards the end, because she thought I stole these videos. So they're videos of her with other people. But I saw some of the video. Mind you, when Jada at the house.
Was any of them allegedly MC Light?
Yes.
I just said that was just
why didn't you let me say that?
That was just my own opinion.
Come on,
I had no dog in this fight.
Oh, goodness.
But I always felt like in my opinion that her and MC Light kind of had something going on, and they used men, Will and MC Light's husband, to cover it up.
So,
and then we had a lady that came to sit on the show that said she saw MC Light and Jada at a known gay club for like.
The conversation reportedly began with Jada laughing about catching Willow viewing explicit adult content when she was younger. While most parents would be alarmed by such a discovery, Jada allegedly tried to share the material she enjoyed with her daughter. Situations like this have led many to question Jada's approach to parenting, suggesting that her decisions in these moments may not reflect the most responsible choices.
You have that point. It's more sensual. You know, it's like, it's very sensual, very done in a very artistic way. You know, you slow motion.
Yeah, exactly.
And then, you know,
All
very
right.
Exactly.
Jada, Willow, and Adrian talking a little at the Red Table, a new episode that streams Monday on Facebook. Watch.
I'm a little bored. The ladies get into some heavy conversation, though. And props to Willow, who has sat through some serious TMI.
I can imagine if my mama and my grandmama were having some of the conversations that they have had at this table, and you got to get up and instead you give a, wow, yeah. That is a signal of like, okay.
Yeah, she can really give some expression.
If I was still on my game, I'd be able to show you some good, because back in the day I had a little addiction.
Jada Pinkett Smith getting candid about her past struggle with porn.
I actually feel like I was using maybe addiction a little lightly, and maybe I will say now that I had an unhealthy relationship to at one point in my life where I was trying to practice.
Jada has also shared that she introduced Jaden to her past experiences with drugs, openly recounting her time as a dealer in her youth. She explained that growing up, she wanted to be independent and saw dealing as a way to secure the life she wanted, rather than relying on anyone else. Her candidness about these experiences has drawn criticism. Some fans expressed concern that exposing her son to such stories could be harmful, potentially putting him at risk of psychological or emotional consequences.
Beautiful.
What does that beauty look like for you day in and day out? So are y'all living together?
It's just this beautiful connection. We will.
Look at that.
Not right now.
But you will.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. That's.
Why do you say that with such a
clarity?
Because that's what it's gonna be.
That's where it's headed.
Yeah.
And you both are on that page.
Yeah, and but right now I really do enjoy my space.
Yeah.
I've been living
alone.
I am my mother's only child.
Yeah.
Right? And so having this time that I've had to myself has been fantastic. Just to get to know me, even to have my house exactly how I want it. I don't have to be like, well, what color do you want this wall? You know what I mean? I can just do it.
You're the chooser.
I'm the chooser.
You're the chooser.
Right.
So when you imagine your life back together, because I'm sure you've seen it, how does that look to you?
We don't know yet.
You'll build that.
We'll build that. And it'll be something.
Jada and Will have repeatedly tried to frame her infidelities in different ways. Whenever rumors surface, they alternate between calling their marriage open and insisting it isn't. Fans have noticed a striking contrast. Jada often laughs when discussing the concept of an open relationship, while Will has been seen becoming emotional or even breaking down. Speculation has circulated that agreeing to an unconventional arrangement may have been a condition for Will to remain married. Looking at the history, it's difficult to ignore a clear pattern emerging. Whether or not you accept Jaguar Wright's claims, one thing is obvious. This marriage has been far from typical, and the public has only seen glimpses of what really happens behind closed doors. What's your take? Is Will choosing to stay out of love, compromise, or something else entirely? Share your thoughts in the comments below. And for more in-depth breakdowns like this, make sure to like the video, subscribe, and turn on notifications so you never miss an update.